Tommy Thomas was a true visionary. When he entered the Marine Corps at 17, he was too young, but he got in anyway, was a turret gunner in a bomber, was shot down, and fortunately his whole crew survived. A very unusual situation to happen. And I think that experience plus his what he learned in the Marine Corps shaped his entire life.
We actually had to go a few towns over to join because everybody knew how old he was, or that he wasn't old enough. I think he became a corporal and a high school graduate on the same day, but was a Marine through and through. But then he came back to Birmingham, which is where my grandmother was from, and started first in short-term loans, but then went to work for a big dealer over there who took a liking to him, and he helped him kind of move along, put him in a couple stores. Not all of them worked out, but then eventually he got a Chevrolet store in Aniana. And then when the point became available here, he moved his family down in 65.
When you start from there and you have that desire, and then you go through a world war, is those guys risked everything. So they come back. They're fearless. They've seen it. They've stared down the worst. They may not have thought they'd ever come home, but they come home and all they see is opportunity. And for my grandfather, for Tommy, it was a matter of relationships with people. And he developed relationships with bankers, he developed relationships with manufacturers, he developed relationships with colleagues in the business, and he risked everything.
When Tommy's predecessor died in an untimely car crash, General Motors says, "You're the next dealer in Panama City."
This dealership, when it was on 15th Street, it was just, at one point in time, it was just my grandfather, my dad, and one salesperson. He would go from that kind of scenario where it's doom and gloom to buying another dealership.
He could see opportunities when others didn't. He had an incredible amount of confidence in his ability to do business, to see a business that might not be performing, acquire it, and make it better. And my late father-in-law, Tommy Thomas, came to Jacksonville. He made us a proposition, said, if you come to work for me for 2 years, if it works out, it'll be great for everybody. If it doesn't, you'll learn something about the automobile business, free enterprise, the real world, as he would call it. And that made sense to me. So we moved here in January of 1979. And 2 years later, I never looked back. We were on 15th Street at Florida Avenue for the first 20 years of our business. We really wanted to stay where we were and buy the property. But Tommy had a lot of foresight. He bought this property here on 23rd Street, and everybody thought he was, not in his right mind. But he had the foresight to get a location that he saw would be a tremendous place to be in the future. About 2 years before the lease was to expire, we started designing this building. Tommy decided what he wanted. He wanted to look like the Marine Corps base in San Diego, tile roof and arches, stucco and so forth. We got the plans drawn and he said, "All right, Bill, you're gonna build it. That's your problem. I'll come by and check on you, but I want you to build it." And I enjoyed that. I mean, that was a challenge. And then we completed it in July of 1985 and then moved over here. We worked together pretty much up to his death. I became a co-dealer with Tommy in 1986. Then I became a sole dealer after his passing. And so when I bought the other franchises, I wanted the community to know that I had enough confidence in our operation to put my name on the sign. And that's why I did it. Because once you put your name on the sign, you own it. And if we succeed, that's great. But if we had failed, it'd have been on me. We went through a number of recessions, probably I've been through half a dozen recessions in the 60 years. We're here. We're strong, healthier than we've ever been.
My brother and I would come up here occasionally on Sundays with him. On Sundays, we'd go check the post office box because he would get all the mail, and then we'd bring it here. I can remember vividly that I learned square roots. We were going through that in the school, the class that I was in. And I learned square roots from my dad in his office back in that back corner. And we would just come and hang out.
Our parents never really pushed us towards the car business. Some things I thought about it ahead of time. So I didn't really have a perspective coming into it. I knew that it was something that my grandfather in particular was passionate about and had developed from nothing. I knew it was something that he convinced my dad to come do. Dad's an attorney by training and wound up a very successful car dealer instead.
It's awesome to be in a community, or a country for that matter, where you can actually pass that on to the next generation, have your children come to work for you. So I'm incredibly blessed to have that opportunity. I didn't really ask either one of them to come to work here. You know, they made their own decisions. And that was a great moment that they would want to make a career out of the business that was in the family.
Dad's been great, allowing us the opportunity to be ourselves and to operate the dealership the way that we know he wants it done and the way we want to do it with our spin on it. He's been very gracious in allowing us that freedom. His style of promotion and advertising was very traditional and very scripted and he thought through every line on every ad, he ever did, which he didn't really do a ton of them, but everything was calculated and, very precise and had a lot of research done on it. With me and William is kind of off the cuff and what sounds good, and then we just go roll with it.
Merry Christmas. Where we're going, we don't need gas. Hiya, Georgie.
Oh, come on, seriously? I wonder.
They've had the opportunity, they've both been in it for decades. Will is doing a phenomenal job as our chief financial officer. That's his bailiwick, that's what he likes to do. And I'm fortunate that Chris likes to do the sales. Chris is doing a great job in the sales departments. And then I can provide the strategic direction with them.
We're the last really family-owned dealership. We're in a third generation. We're really, really proud that we're still here, that we're still local, that we're still the same owners for the last 60 years, and we plan to be the owners for the foreseeable future. If our kids are interested, we'd love to have them. It enables us to be a part of the community. Enables us to be a part of people's lives, that they remember growing up and going to Tommy Thomas, or they remember coming to see Bill Cramer. And I think that the Bay County in 10, 15 years is going to be almost unrecognizable to the Bay County now. It's going to be bigger. I feel like it's going to be better, and I think we'll all benefit from that. And so it's a great place to be. It's a great place to live. It's a great place to work. It's a great place to have a business. It's a great place to be a part of a community, because there's just so much positive happening.
I think we can do it very well. But again, it goes back to your team. It goes back to the people we surround ourselves with. It goes back to how we operate. It goes back to our processes that we have in the product that we offer. And we can absolutely do it. And I'd love for the community to continue to know that we're a family. That we are, this is our family, that we're operating this, we're doing this the way we want to do it. And that, that we live here and that we work here, we play here, and we're a part of the community.
We are grateful to be here. Been tremendously blessed. As I say, it's a blessing to have a family business. And to see them grow in their involvement in the community and other charitable endeavors, that's who we are. That's our way of operating. We want to be engaged. We want to give back, and we want to serve our customers.